I want you to imagine your ideal date night. Candlelight, a great bottle of wine. You're looking across the table at someone absolutely stunning. The conversation is flowing, the tension is building, and you're thinking, okay, tonight's the night. But then imagine there's a third person at the table. They're louder than your date. They have perfect lighting. They have a body that defies the laws of physics and gravity. And every time your date tries to speak, this third person screams, "Look at me! Look what I can do with a yoga ball and a bottle of olive oil!" And suddenly, your date looks a little boring, a little normal. Welcome back, Firestarters. Today, we're talking about the ghost in your machine. The invisible ex that you visit in the bathroom at 2 a.m. We are talking about porn. And no, I am not here to be your youth pastor. I'm not here to tell you that touching yourself is going to make you go blind, right? If that were true, teenage boys would have echolocation by now. Look, I'm here to talk about your spark. I'm here to ask you a question that might hurt a little. Are you single because you want to be? Or are you single because you've sedated your drive with pixels? We're going to talk about why real women and men feel slow compared to the internet. Why you aren't going to date a porn star. And believe it or not, how you can actually use this stuff to make your sex life better if you stop acting like a junkie. Let's turn up the heat, baby. Welcome back, boys. Let's get into the science of attraction. Your brain is a biological machine, and it's designed for one freaking thing: passing on your DNA. When it sees a sexually viable partner, it dumps dopamine, right? That's the go get 'em tiger chemical. In the wild, finding a mate is hard work. It takes charm. It takes effort. It takes a little status. It takes time. And if you've been following the ACR, it takes autonomy, competence, and relatedness. But porn? Porn is what psychologists call a super normal stimulus. It's the sexual equivalent of injecting sugar directly into your veins, my guys. When you open up that incognito tab, you aren't seeing one woman. You're seeing a digital harem, my friends. A digital harem. You're swiping through more partners in 15 minutes than your ancestors saw in 15 lifetimes. And this brings us to the Coolidge Effect. Yeah, we got a lot of these effects named after the dead presidents. But this is a dating killer, right? It is a dating killer, this Coolidge Effect. You put a rooster in a pen with a hen, he'll mate with her. Eventually, he gets tired, right? He stops. But you throw a new hen in there, he's back in business, baby. Novelty triggers arousal. If you're frying your brain with high-speed 4K novel partners every single night, guess what happens when you go on a date with one real human? She's talking about her day. She's eating a salad. She isn't performing a triple backflip onto the mattress. And your brain, it's going, boring. Where's the next tab? Where's the skip button? My guys, you are training yourself to be bored by intimacy. You are training yourself to be bored by the very women that you want to attract and start a relationship with. Close the tab, my dudes. And that, my friends, is why the spark isn't catching. You're trying to light a fire with wet wood. Wood. That's what she said. Now let's talk about the person sitting across from you, right? Or the person you want sitting across from you. Hopefully an eminently feminine woman. But let's talk about the person that you want sitting away from you. Look, porn is not reality. I know, shocking, right? You mean the pizza delivery guy doesn't actually accept payment in favors? No, he accepts Venmo, and he's in a hurry to get back to work. The airbrush effect. The industry is designed to hide flaws, angles, lighting, bow chicka wow wow. Real bodies, they have texture, they have pores, they've got zits, they make weird noises when they squash together. There are smells, there is awkwardness, and when you consume too much content, you develop unrealistic sexual scripts. You start expecting your partner to look like a filtered Instagram model and perform like a paid acrobat. And let's be honest, fellas, look in the mirror. You aren't exactly bringing Johnny Sins energy to the table, are you? You're bringing accountant with mild back pain energy. You better hope she's not watching porn. Because, my dude, those guys are hung like horses. Their physiques are like Hulk Hogan, and they can go all night, baby. Research from the Journal of Sexual Medicine shows that heavy porn use is linked to lower relationship satisfaction. Now, why? Because you are constantly comparing your partner to a phantom. You are robbing your partner of desire. When you take care of business in the shower before the date just to take the edge off, dudes, you are killing the tension. Tension is what you need, baby. The spark needs tension. It needs hunger. If you're fully fed on junk food, you have no appetite for the gourmet meal your partner is offering. And she's a gourmet meal, baby. Look, we talk a lot about ethical masculinity on this channel. What does an ethically masculine man look like in the digital age? Well, he's a man of discipline, right? He's a man of intent. There is nothing alpha about being a slave to an algorithm. If you can't go a week without watching other people have sex on screen, you are not in control. You are being controlled. You are a passenger in your own body. And let's talk about protection. Masculinity is about protection. Look, the porn industry, especially the free tube sites, it is rife with exploitation, right? Trafficking, coercion, regret. When you mindlessly consume whatever is trending, right, you are fueling a machine that chews up young women, my guys. And an ethically masculine man does not get off on the degradation of women, period. He respects the feminine. He craves connection, not consumption. Ask yourself, does this habit make me a better protector, a better lover, or does it make me a lonely voyeur in a dark room? Reclaim your energy, that sexual energy. That's your drive. That's your ambition. Stop spilling it on the floor or into tissue. Put it into your business. Put it into your body. Put it into pursuing a real woman. They're hot, baby. Now, look, I told you I wasn't a monk. Is all porn bad? No, no. Can it actually help your relationship? Absolutely. If you're a fire starter, you know that fire can burn your house down or it can cook your food. It depends on how you handle it, my guys, right? And what do we teach you here, right? What do we teach you? Look, I'm going to go over something called the menu method. If you have a partner, porn can be a fantastic conversation starter, right? Many couples who struggle to articulate what they want, right? It's kind of awkward to say, "Hey, I want you to try X." Watching ethical, curated erotica together can be like looking at a menu, right? Does that look good to you? No? All right. What about that? I mean, look, It might be a little awkward, right? Especially if you are not grounded in your ethical masculinity and she is not grounded in her femininity. But it does remove the shame and it builds a bridge to intimacy. Guys, communicate. That's what we're getting at here. Relatedness, relatability. Ethical erotica. I mean, gentlemen, if you want to turn a woman on, turn off the gonzo stuff and look for erotica or written erotica. Women are often more stimulated by context and story than just visual hydraulics. You need to understand women at a primal level. I mean, look, they are turned on by a dude's body, right? That's true. But they like the mental stimulation, the emotional game. So read a spicy scene to her. Listen to an audio story together. This engages the imagination, baby. The brain is the biggest sex organ. Use it. All right, education, right? With a grain of salt. There are educational sites, right, created by people like, therapists, sexologists, and these actually show real bodies and real pleasure techniques. Now, these aren't fake screams, right? These aren't, the weird positions that no one can contort themselves into, right? This is about real connection. You can use these things to learn, right? Don't use them to escape. The golden rule for fire starters, porn should be a garnish, not an entree. It's the spice you sprinkle on top of a healthy sex life. It is not a meal replacement, right? This is not a meal replacement, guys. Let's go back to reality for a second, right? You're not going to date a porn star. And honestly, you probably wouldn't want to, right? You want someone who laughs at your bad jokes. You want someone, you can take the coffee. You want someone who feels warm when you hold them at night. And I'm not saying a porn star can't provide that, but it's not likely, right? Real intimacy is messy, right? You don't want the curated version that's being shown up in 4K on your incognito browser. Real intimacy is messy. It's fumbling. It's laughing when heads bump, when your teeth crack together when you're trying to kiss. I mean, that's where the magic is, guys. If you're waiting for the perfect scene, you're going to be waiting forever. And while you're waiting, staring at a screen, the love of your life just walked past you. You missed her because you were too busy looking down. And guess who she's with right now? She's with one of our Plant the Spark fire starters who has learned the techniques in ethical masculinity. They are grounded, they're hot, and they're looking at her, not at the computer screen. So, fire starters, here's the challenge. I want you to do a dopamine detox. Give it a week. Give it 2 weeks. No pixels. See what happens to your energy. See what happens to your eye contact. See how much more vibrant, real women look when you aren't comparing them to a fantasy. You deserve the real thing. You deserve the heat, the connection, the spark that comes from another human soul. Do not trade your birthright for a cheap digital imitation. Be the man who can handle reality. Be the man who creates the fire instead of just watching someone else's smoke. I'm Mike. This is Plant the Spark. Go out there and start a real fire. I mean, metaphorically speaking.